Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Bowl TV for the final round of competition from the 2021 Mid-States Championships taking place at North Rock Lanes in Wichita, Kansas. We have already crowned a champion in the women's division, so congratulations to Wichita State. The Wichita State men looking to repeat the feat and make it a clean sweep here at North Rock Lanes, a home event essentially for the Shockers. So we are going to be getting ready for their 16 games of Baker competition. In just a couple of minutes, practice is wrapping up right now from North Rock Lanes. I'm here at the Bowl TV studio from the International Bowling Campus in Arlington, Texas. Jason Thomas, the man with the plan in Wichita, Kansas, for us this week with the coverage. So as we mentioned, we already had 16 Baker games a little bit earlier today on the women's side. So it's time for the men to lace up and see if they can put together a number on a 38-foot, 33 mil oil pattern. So it presented some challenges early yesterday, but scores opened up for a few teams, Wichita State being one of them in the back half of the block. So we'll see if they can maintain their lead. We'll get through all the details, that and a little bit more. But first, let's head out to the lanes. We're going to be going to lanes 39 and 40. So it's going to be a little bit different view than what we've had for the rest of the week. But we wanted to get Wichita State on here in Baker set one, I should say, to kind of gauge how they're doing here in the early going to see if they can continue their lead or if they have some struggles out here to start. So we're going to go ahead to lanes 39 and 40 from inside North Rock Lanes to kick things off today. So got less than a minute left to go in practice. So Central Missouri and Wichita State going to be on lanes 39 and 40 here. We got Wichita State. You can see them. They're in the black and yellow. Central Missouri's got the cool Argyle-looking jerseys going today. So, when we look at the overall standings, which we have readily available right here, Wichita State was the only team to average more than 200 during yesterday's 5 traditional games. So 50-150 their total. St. Ambrose was second, 49-25. So that's a 225 pin difference. This is a total pinfall event. So that is the only way for St. Ambrose to take this victory. They got to finish with more pins after these 16 Baker games, along with the 5 games from yesterday. Otherwise, Wichita State is going to have the sweep here at the Mid-States Championships, going a few spots down. Newman at 46-91, so really just a 2-team race. Midland University 46-33 and Kansas Wesleyan 46-30. So some opportunities to jockey from 3rd to 5th, but first and second place so far ahead out from everyone else. More than likely going to be a battle between them. And even then, can St. Ambrose muster up some firepower here to start? But we're going to bring in my man on the scene, Jason Thomas, who's got plenty of firepower for 16 more Baker games. So, JT, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I got the firepower because I had some AJs on the break.
Jealous.
But yeah, it got us a camera view. It's not the greatest, I'll admit, but this is about as good as we could do for Wichita in game 1 or our set of matches 1. And if they get out of the gate here with a good start, they could basically wrap up the competition. As you said yesterday, about 250 pins or so back with 16 to go is about as well as you can do. And I do like their strategy starting off here. Cameron Hurwitz, you can see urethane from out. He pounded the pocket all throughout practice. That one just kept it in play, left an easy makeable spare 4-pin. And I really like the strategy that they're looking at coming out of the gate.
And JT, was that something I know we were busy getting ready for this next round, but did you see that potentially on the Wichita State side as far as a few players with urethane after what we saw yesterday on the fresh?
Yeah, I did. I really did feel like they would kind of go back and do their homework and, kind of figure out, hey, look, this pattern's 38 feet. It's short. It's huge, high volume. Let's throw our lowest diff balls with a lot of surface and start from out. And then as you saw yesterday, after a few games, they started to open up from in. So, we'll have to see when they decide to make that jump again, if they do at all, which I think they will, probably somewhere around the same place in the block, game 3 or what is the terminology for the set of matches 3? What is the?
I call it. It's essentially Baker set 1, Baker set 2, Baker set 3,
Okay,
Baker set 4 is what I like to go with. So
would
each
say-
of those has 4 games in it.
Gotcha. So Baker set 3, I would say they would start toying around. You'll probably see players towards the second set of matches, Baker set 2, trying the middle part of the lane, feeling it out on their fill balls. The anchor player just kind of dipping the toe in and seeing what's out there. But as of right now, it looks like they're all throwing urethane from out. I think maybe one player is throwing reactive, and that's it.
All right, definitely one of the things, these, as we mentioned throughout the other blocks, these teams only get, Messenger there, taking care of business in the early going. But, these teams essentially were, the only information they were given prior to the start of practice was the pattern length and the pattern volume. So no graph, no way to really see the shape. They really had to rely on their ball motion to figure it out. And, scores were low in the first 2 games on this pattern. There was only one game over 1,000. It was Wichita State, and it barely cracked 1,000. But, when they got the opportunity to move left, they took advantage of it. And that's when they started to create the separation between the rest of the field.
And you can see right out of the gate, they've hit the pocket every shot, a couple of messengers, an easy spare. They've absolutely got the right strategy. So St. Ambrose down or actually up on the high end of this game. They're on the very end pair. We won't have them. If they do happen to mount a run, we'll find a way to get a camera on them for the last set of Baker matches. But really, this is Wichita State's tournament to lose.
This will be their first time through the lineup, and that is our all-tournament MVP, Brandon Biondo, got recognized prior to the start of the squad for leading the way through yesterday's 5 traditional games. Along with the team title up for grabs, there is an all-tournament team for the best 5 individual performers. And taking a look at that list, really a who's who of some of the top teams out here. Brandon Biondo leading with 1092, so just under a 220 average. Nathan Stubler from St. Ambrose, Justin Aboud from St. Ambrose's junior varsity team, Cameron Crow, St. Ambrose, and then Christopher Yadeau, who's a strong player from Midland. So some very strong players in the top 5 of the standings, and it was fun to watch them attack this pattern through the course of the day yesterday.
It was, and they had a couple other players that were in the crack the top 10 as well. I think Cameron Hurwitz did, as well as Mr. Keplinger. The last game, I think, ended up cracking into the top 10.
Well, they had a few players on their junior varsity as well, but essentially, actually, Mr. Keplinger was the lowest the way it worked out, even though he had the biggest game, the 266. But all 5 starters in the top 17 in the individual standings. So the team cohesion was there. Cameron was 9th. Briley Howe was 10th. Nick Summer was 11th. And then Alec was 17. So, and all of them averaged at least 196.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah,
everybody on the team, no lower than 17th. That's going to win you a lot of tournaments.
Yes, that's going to put you in good position. And they even had, I want to say, let's see, at least 2 junior varsity players in that top 17 as well. So Wichita State looking strong here in the early going. The junior varsity team's bowling on the same condition as well across the house. And we'll see a lot of them on our featured pairs throughout the course of competition today. But yeah, we're cruising through game number 1. And JT, as you said it, the Shockers look poised. You said that St. Ambrose would have to put up a score, maybe get a little help along the way too. And right now, the help ain't coming.
Yeah, that's key. I mean, you have to have really two things happen to make up that big of a deficit. One is, the team that's chasing has to bowl really well, but the team that's leading has to give them an opportunity. And certainly Wichita State at this point not doing that. And there's a split there, but that was a pretty good shot. You just contrast what they're doing to the other team on their pair, and the other team on their pair, I mean, they're all over the place. They're missing the head pin both ways, leaving wide open splits, very difficult things to convert. Whereas, the Wichita State team, other than this, which I think was a bit of a bad break on that split, they're just keeping the ball in play, keeping the ball in the pocket, leaving themselves, for the most part, easy spares and throwing a few strikes. So that's what you need to do when they're this tough.
Yeah, it looks like still max of 211 out there. A nice conversion of the washout for Central Missouri. But yeah, I think that was the key here. Something we talked about as well. When teams begin to press and try to look for that big look in Baker, when you start looking 240, sometimes you find 160 a little bit too quick. And for Wichita State, potentially back-to-back opens here to set up the 10th, but haven't shot themselves in the foot, essentially, here in the early going, which is when you're in that position, you don't want to give the other teams too much hope and loosen their arm swings, get them excited, get them yelling and cheering a little bit.
Absolutely. And, these teams that are going to be fighting it, for the title down the stretch, they're within distance of each other. They're a couple pairs away, so they can see what each other's doing. They'll be crossing, at the same intervals, so they'll be able to kind of keep an eye on each other and watch each other. So it's really kind of, even though Wichita's not crossing with St. Ambrose and bowling head-to-head with them each game, it's really kind of match play between those two teams.
I'm sure a few folks will be keeping an eye out for that along the way as well. From each team, I'm sure running down there, waiting for score updates. That's why you have extra players on the team, right? Got to make them run and find scores.
Exactly.
But
the rookies, the freshmen.
The freshmen, there you go.
Scout the pair ahead, freshmen.
All part of the collegiate bowling experience, something we see behind the scenes, not necessarily always captured on the Bowl TV cameras, but if a team is able to send players to scout the pair ahead of time, just to find out something, who was there, what type of balls, what type of surface were they using, what part of the lane were they playing, that's all part of the strategy that coaches essentially use out there in order to gain as much information as they can. And, we talked about that a little bit, in the traditional 5-player team game. You have a couple shots to figure out the pair. Your goal is to be lined up toward the 6-7 frame to kind of throw a few strikes at the end and get yourself 220, 230. In Baker, that luxury of kind of working your way into a game, if we talk about the heavyweight fight comparison, you can't just kind of take it easy the first few rounds. You got to start swinging if you want to put together a good Baker game. So that information is very important to have as much as possible as you look to get going.
Yeah, and you did see there, Brandon Biondo just gave a look at, a little look to the middle part of the lane just to see what's developing out there. He didn't go, the big wheel left to right like we saw them doing in Game 3 yesterday, but he did move his feet a few boards left and just kind of tested out the middle part of the lane to see what it was doing. So I know that as the games progress, they're going to keep getting looks on their fill balls, which is why it's important as the anchor bowler to fill those frames, fill those 10 frames. You want to give yourself a chance on a fill ball to get a look at what the lanes are doing so that, you can properly gauge when it's time to make the big jump.
177 in the opener there for Wichita State. So one of those games where, not the best, but certainly not a a game that's going to deter you too much. You're going to continue on. A few splits in there along the way, so just looking to clean those up and to move on. That's what we saw the Wichita State women to start today. A pair of 170 games before going 190 and 240 to wrap things up and essentially kind of create the distance from the rest of the field that nobody was going to catch up from.
Yeah, I think, they would have to be fairly happy with that first game, even though the score was a little bit on the lower side. I think they kept the ball in play. They made good shots. They all kind of got a feel for what the lanes are doing, and it's not a 130 that's going to potentially put you in a hole. 130s are out there. Believe me, I see them right in front of me.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point. This is and I mean, just glancing at the scoring pace from yesterday, looking at that first game, I have it here somewhere. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, I see a 112. I see a 142. I see, if they don't mark, a 139. I see one match where they're in game 2 and they pulled 7 frames and all of them are open. So I mean, they're still hard.
That was rough, absolutely. And looking at the first game yesterday, of the 17 varsity teams in the field, only 5 broke 900. So not even 1,000, just 900. That's essentially a 180 average for the team. So it was tough to fill frames.
Yeah, there you see a 3 off the right there. Leading to an open frame. Whoa! Picks off the 6-9. Hello.
That's a hard 2 right there.
I had a buddy. His name was Mike Taylor, one of the top bowlers in the West region for a long time. His father was a national tour titleist. He was a funny guy, very, very quirky, funny guy. And his goal in life was to bowl a 292 game. And so whenever he got the front 11, he would try to pick off the 6-9. That's the easiest way to get 2. And so he had a bunch of 293s and 294s and 295s. And I don't know if he ever got the 292, but that was his goal. I don't know if anybody's ever bowled a 292. I mean, you might have to look that up, Aaron.
I feel that's a if Matt was here right now, I would refer to Matt Canizar. I believe that is that was a goal by Kent Wagner as well, to have every game in the 290s. I believe Kent actually achieved it. I'm not 100% sure.
Wow.
But yeah, that's it. Matt would have the better details on that one. So I feel Kent accomplished that.
That's amazing. I guess picking off the 710 would be another good way to do it, right?
Then you're just showing off.
Oh man, I would have loved to have been, if he did do that, I would have loved to have been there to see it. Oh, I'm getting a text from somebody who might have the answer.
It could be Wesley Lowe saying, "I can't believe Briley left that 2 count," because I know him and Briley are buds. So if Wesley was watching right then and there, that would have been
Jason Milligan.
Oh, J-Mill. All right.
He said Paul Henderson did it several years ago in a tournament at Forum. He said it may have been the city tournament.
And when J Mill says maybe the city tournament, it was the city tournament.
Yeah. So what did he pick out, Jace? He's gonna not on purpose.
Oh, that's
Whoops. I have a buddy who he was an older gentleman, very nice man. He had one of those Brunswick used to sell a lifetime pass for open play, and he had a lifetime open play pass. In fact, I have another funny story about that after this one. But he had never bowled 300 before, and the first time he had the front 11, it was a center like this with the old anvil lane surface where a lot of times the gutter didn't play all that well, so you kind of had to play, around 8, and your gutter was kind of 5, and his last shot, I'll never forget. He's throwing a pearl red hammer. He gets it a little too far right, and he picks 3 off the right, shoots 293. So definitely a very low first front 11. He eventually did get the 300 game.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear that. So that would be all right. We got there. So that's what's important right here. But yes, that's a great tale. It's always fun to see interesting counts and odd scores. I think I saw a post from back home in Indiana not too long ago. A guy had a 283, and it's one of those scores you're like, how did that happen?
Yes. He picked out the 6'9", Paul Henderson. So that's how he did it. So Paul, I'm sure that was not fun, but you might have gone into the record books for that one.
Paul is one heck of a bowler, though. Nice guy too. So shout out to Paul.
That's awesome. I will tell you the other story about this gentleman who had the lifetime pass. They're pretty rare. I don't know. I don't remember how much they cost or if they even sell them anymore. But he bought one, and it was a card that you carried around in your wallet. And so the ownership at the bowling center changed, or they had a new person staffing the desk, and he bowled 20 games and went up to pay by showing his card. And the person at the desk said, "Hey, I don't think that's good anymore."
Oh.
And so the guy puts the card down, and he puts his fingers on his wrist like he's taking his pulse, and he says, "Yeah, it's still good. I'm still alive." He was a funny guy, funny dude. Probably still is.
Sounds like a heck of a pass to have as well. So
it is. It was very cool. So kind of rapidly firing off these games, getting towards the end of game number 2 here. Even with that one little miscue with the picking out the 6'9", Wichita's in pretty good shape.
Oh, 999 in the 9th frame. So it looks like with a double here, they can get into the 190s. 7 up in the 10th. Once again, folks, we'll have an update after every Baker set. So each set is 4 games. So as quick as this goes, we won't get game by game updates, but after every Baker set, we'll get you the news that you want.
Yeah, it dawned on us as we went through the lane assignments that, we probably should show the team that's going to win the tournament at least one game on our live stream this afternoon. And obviously the lane assignments were set well in advance, and you can't change those kinds of things because there was a fairness issue at play with trying to make it equal for all the different teams hitting all the different pairs in the bowling center. But again, if it starts to get interesting, we will do our best to get a camera on either Wichita or St. Ambrose as we come down the stretch.
Yeah, and I think one of the obviously as you mentioned, JT, those are set by the tournament staff essentially as the tournament comes up. So, but I think the cool part about it is essentially we've gotten to see. I'm pretty sure we've gotten to see every team at least once hit one of the pairs here at North Rock Lanes that we have a camera on. So,
ooh,
is that a
lower 6 pin? Yes.
All right.
Wow.
Looks like 174, I believe. But yeah, we've got the opportunity, across the house. Everyone has hit hit a pair at least once or twice, just knowing how many pairs are in play. So that's a cool aspect of it that, especially, we had some teams that just fell right outside of the whole thing yesterday, and they're getting some games today. So that's one of the cool things with having the extra cameras on site.
Absolutely. And obviously the goal eventually at some point will be, complete omniscient coverage of everything. Right. The goal, the evil plan is to, show every ball that's ever thrown in any league or tournaments or or anything. That would be fantastic. We're not quite there yet, but being able to see 5 different channels of coverage at these collegiate events is obviously a big improvement over what we've been able to do in the past, and it gives people a chance to watch more of the bowling, which is what they want. And the other thing, it also in a lot of cases, a lot of these teams will bring their own live stream devices so that the friends and family can watch at home. So the more we can cover, the more we're doing a service for the collegiate bowling community that wants to watch this great action.
An excellent point, and one more shot to go here for Central Missouri. But yeah, if you got a favorite team, be sure to be following them on social media. I know most of the club programs, NCAA programs, whatever it may be, do have some type of team page where you can follow the team on its exploits throughout the course of a tournament weekend, a tournament season, if you will. So be sure to share the love and throw some likes and some follows out there for all these great programs.
So I don't know if I've been off a couple of times just working on some technical things, Aaron, but there is a football game happening later today.
What?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I don't know if you've spoken about that at all, but what are your thoughts on the football game that's coming up this afternoon?
Well, first and foremost, my football season ended a couple of weeks ago when my Chicago football Bears were eliminated by the New Orleans Saints. And now my world is shook hearing that there's a potential massive trade involving Carson Wentz coming to the Bears. So I don't want to think about football at all. But no, I'm pretty intrigued. It's right now I feel you're right in the heart of Chief Country right there.
Oh, absolutely.
So I even saw Brent kind of walk by, Brent Bowers, the PM here, and I saw he had this sweatshirt on already.
Yeah.
But I'm intrigued, with everything going on here today. It'd probably be more of a second half experience, but I'm intrigued to see if TB12 still has one more title in them. It's easy to say the Chiefs are probably the favorite here. I think most will probably feel that way, but I don't know. I've seen too much craziness from Tom Brady over the course of my lifetime, which is he's been a quarterback for most of my life now. So
yeah, I'll tell you,
I still give the edge to the Chiefs, but I'm intrigued to see if Tampa Bay can keep it close and make it a fun game at the end.
Yeah, I certainly would not bet on the game. And certainly would not put it past Tom Brady to pull off another win in the Super Bowl, which would be really remarkable if you think about it. But I did read a story today just about his process and his attention to detail, and it was pretty amazing what the guy does to prepare. One of the anecdotes in the story was just about he when he moved to Tampa Bay, rented Derek Jeter's mansion, whatever. It's just like that's just like the crazy Tom Brady stuff. But he had the equipment manager come over to his house and wanted to show him how he preps the footballs because you're allowed to adjust the footballs. And we obviously know what happened with Deflategate, but but he had all these different brushes and substances that he would put on the ball based on where they were playing and the weather. And so, like, if it was going to be freezing, he would use a certain type of brush and then treat it with this chemical. And if they're playing in another, and he had this whole system. It was this very elaborate system with like 20 different brushes and like 20 different chemicals. And he had all the balls laying out on drying racks on his, you can imagine this beautiful mansion with like horse fields and he's just got all these drying racks with football sitting out at this mansion, and the equipment manager comes over and he's probably like, my God, this is amazing. And then Tom Brady's teaching him about how to scuff a football. And it just kind of goes to show you, like, when I think of that, I think of like a Chris Barnes, right? Like Chris Barnes, just the attention to detail of understanding all the different numbers on his bowling balls and the different surfaces and the different cover stocks and how those numbers apply on certain patterns, and his knowledge of like every pair in this bowling center that we're bowling in this week. He could tell you, that one hooks 3 boards more than, 11 and 12. And, it was really cool to read that story and just kind of see why Tom Brady is who he is and why he's so successful. And it's really just paying attention to the little details.
All I heard throughout the course of that story was that we need to send Tom Brady some Aberlon pads and go for there. This guy's got bowling written all over him. Yeah, I think the Barnes comparison is great. That's 100% it, based off of hearing all those details and what he puts into it and all the preparation and all that. Is it does have a very Chris Barnes-esque vibe to it.
Yeah, for sure. So I just thought it was cool. I thought it was interesting how part of the story was Tom Brady kind of laid out his vision for how he thought the season was going to go, and all the people that he laid it out to, some of the other coaches, some of the other people on the team, they said it went exactly as Tom Brady said it was going to go. He said there's going to be some ups and downs, we're going to have some tough losses, we're going to bounce back from it, and it's just really cool how he inspires a group of people. And the head coach of the team, after their last win, was asked, what is it about Tom Brady that makes him so special? And he said, well, it's really his ability to get everybody else on the team to believe that it's possible to do what we're going to do. And he said it was just one guy. All it takes is one guy, and it was Tom Brady. Now, it's a very special guy, but just what he's able to do to get the rest of the people around him believe. And then, how he does that is, there's something to that as well. Just the way he treats people, the way he sets people aside, the way he understands when there are opportunities and creates a sense of urgency around, some goal that they have to accomplish. It's just really remarkable how special of a player he is. So again, don't bet against him.
The more and more I think about this comparison that you laid out here, I feel I know you had a recent guest appearance on the Beef and Barnesy show, but I'd like to hear Stu's take on that as Cameron Horwitz picks up the 5-count washout, because I know Stu is a big Patriots Tom Brady fan.
Yeah,
and I wonder if he has ever made the comparison of Tom Brady and Chris Barnes in the same sentence. So that would be a fun thing to hear those guys debate.
It would hurt him to make that comparison, would be my guess. But I'm sure, in his heart, he believes that to be somewhat true.
Good stuff. Bowl TV, folks. That's what happens after 2 days and almost continuous nonstop action. These are the details we get into.
Yeah, and just to go back to talk about the bowling a little bit, we saw Cameron go through the lineup and have a couple of really rough, first shots, but he made the spares. He barely clipped the 6-pin on his first shot back a couple frames ago, and ended up leaving the bucket in a different spot. The old the old 1, 2, 3, 5, and makes that. And then leaves the 5-count washout and spares that. And those are the kinds of little things you have to do to keep team in it, to keep the momentum going. It's like making a 20-foot bogey putt, at the U.S. Open to keep your momentum going and to keep the round going and not drop 16 spots on the leaderboard, by having a triple or quadruple bogey. So those are the little things that teams need to do to stay in it, to keep the rest of the teammates up and the energy up. And I know they're probably feeling like, gosh, how much longer do we got to grind it out here on the gutter, until we can jump left and see a little bit of room and a little bit of if I miss a board left, I don't have to worry about the ball missing the head pin.
Correct. And they have found a late string of strikes here, 3 in a row to set up the 10th frame. So a chance to get to 211 this game. They've had a pair 170s so far. So, it's one of those things. If St. Ambrose found a way to grind out a couple 200s, they've gained 50 pins already. So potentially a chance to swing some momentum in their favor once again. I think you said St. Ambrose is on the low end of the house right now. So
I think they're on the very end pair. I think they're on 47 and 48.
Okay, they're gonna make the jump after
Correct.
this. Okay.
Curious to see if Brandon Biondo, assuming he can fill this frame, if he tries to take a big step left and see what's out there at this point.
And they still have one game left to go on lane 39 to finish up Baker's set 1. And once again, for the good folks watching on Facebook, the Sport of Bowling USBC page, we appreciate you joining us here. But just a friendly reminder, like we've done all week, after this first set finishes up, we're sending everything over to bowltv.com. So be sure to swing by over there to watch the rest of the block and see who emerges victorious here on the men's side. The Wichita State women claimed the Mid-States Championships title a little bit earlier in the day. Oh, come on, Brandon.
Little friendly. That's, what do they call that? The member bounce in golf. It's the this is their home.
It's the
little home cooking love. Member bounce. I don't know whatever.
You're all over the place there, but I like
look at what's going on. Look what's going on right now, Aaron. They're grabbing a different ball. He's going to take a big jump left and see what it looks like.
Do get a cool vantage point here.
See, that was a big jump left. So yeah, it looked okay.
So they're inching towards it.
They're talking about it. They're like, all right, is it time? Is it time? Do we do it? I know Cameron wants to get away from that gutter. I mean,
and folks, if you missed it a little bit earlier today, when we had Matt Russo and Lauren Pate on, we asked Matt about young players he enjoyed watching and would like to, kind of follow their collegiate careers. And he gave a glowing review of Mr. Cameron Hurwitz, who is just a freshman here. This is his very first collegiate event. And Matt, once again, so many positive things, all the great things we've seen from Cameron so far in his young career, a junior gold champion. And
he's definitely making the move.
Now we're going to see him hook it a little bit.
Hey, he missed left and the ball didn't miss the head pin left. So that's progress.
You're making steps, small steps.
And he struck.
Bonus.
But yeah, just to finish your thought on that, Aaron, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I've had a chance to talk to Cameron in pretty long detail, and he's just so impressive with his knowledge. I mean, I have a hard time keeping up with what he's saying, and I consider myself to be, pretty astute student of the game, and he he runs circles around me in terms of his knowledge, and it's pretty impressive for a freshman in college to have that much knowledge of the game, and then to have a fantastic physical game, to back it up.
Absolutely. I know he's spent a lot of time working with Rhino Page over the years, and has had some great opportunities to work with a lot of great coaches along the way. But I know that I believe he's been looking forward to this for a couple of years. I think they've been focused on Wichita State for a while now for Cameron, and finally coming to fruition here after a long wait with the season being postponed at first. But we're finally back to action here. 2021, it's happening, and it's fun to watch college bowling again.
Yeah, and I think it tells you a lot about how knowledgeable he is, and also, how much trust they have in him that they put him in the leadoff spot.
It's a very big point as well. That's there's a lot of responsibility in the leadoff position. Not going to lie. That's we've tend to talk about that quite a bit in Baker, about particular roles that positions have, and you look at the anchor player. That's the person you trust to throw the double in the big spots. But the leadoff player, is setting the tone each and every game. Not only bringing the emotion, bringing the fire, but that person has to be a shot maker, because you're the first one hitting the lane. You're the first one gathering information. And if you're not out there making a great shot, got a little dance there with the Brooklyn strike as well. But if the leadoff player is essentially the first line of communication for the team. So you have to know if you made a great shot. You have to depict what the ball motion did. You have to talk about that, and then you have to relay that to the players on the team. You have to relay that to the coach, and that is a constant thing each and every game that position requires. So for the leadoff players out there, that's just the trait you got to have. You got to go out there and make great shots. That one got away from him, so that's going to happen. But it's so imperative to set the pace, especially with the quicker format in Baker. To have a strong leadoff man goes a long way in setting the pace for the team.
Absolutely. It is. It's just that shot there just shows how tricky the pattern is with so much volume. Once you start creeping, because they're doing the right thing. They're staying to the right. They're not, they're resisting the temptation to jump way left. But they are starting to migrate slowly, and the volume is so high that once you start getting in and throwing it away from you, you miss just a little bit right, it just catches that volume and has no chance. And then where they are right now is also kind of right on the edge of where the track starts to hook, right? So anything left of where they're throwing it right now is going to catch the track and start to hook. And so you really want to make sure you keep it in that area in front of you in the track. But if you miss right of it, not only are they tight, but you also have a cleaner surface, so the ball's just going to push forever. So it's really dangerous. But you have to play there in order to get to the next step in the transition, which is being able to jump left of that. And then once you can jump left of that and have the track to your right, you can actually start to score a little bit. But it's very important that, because the pattern's so short, that when you are going away from it, you're going away very quickly. You can't try to play hold like you do in league. You've got to throw it to the right, but you can't do that until you can get very far away from that track, and they're not quite there yet.
Still a strong start after the 210 once they moved to lane 39. Once again, this is the final game of Baker set 1. They still got 250s out there this game, which essentially would put them plus for the block. And, we talked about, not knowing what St. Ambrose is doing so far, but, seeing those 170s out of the gates, a chance to, grind your way to a couple 200s on the fresh. All of a sudden you made up 50 pins. But if the Shockers can find a way to finish this out, essentially all those pins could be gained back just like that.
The one hard thing that St. Ambrose is going to have to deal with too is, scouting the next pair. Their next pair is going to be 1 and 2, which is 46 lanes different than where they are right now. So, it's important that they have someone down there taking a look at that. It's much easier for Wichita to look at what's happening on, 2 lanes over from them and the pair they're going to go to next. So, hopefully St. Ambrose has somebody doing that legwork so they know when they make the flip what they can expect. But I think part of it is it's made a little easier because of the fact that they have 3 lefties. So they're probably going to play fairly similarly, and they're probably not going to have 3 lefties bowling on 1 and 2 in front of them. So it makes the job a little bit easier, and just knowing kind of the characteristics of the center are more important than where the people in front of them are playing. But, that's a big part of it.
10th frame underway here for Wichita State. 257 still out there. Now into the 240s. Big game, and essentially they're gonna be looking at a plus block here, even or plus.
That's impressive. I mean, for as hard as they were, and a player of Cameron Hurwitz's caliber getting 3 off the right, for them to shoot plus on that's not good for the rest of the field.
Just thinking the same thing. But certainly fun to watch the progression here as they slowly work to what we saw yesterday. But once again, showing that patience.
That's good stuff. Let's see if we get a little look at the big jump left.
I'm curious now. I know Wichita State has, I believe, 2 JV teams here this week as well, but do they only have the 5 players for varsity total?
Yeah, that's at least in the bowlers area. I don't see any players in the back either. So I believe that's correct.
All right, 257. Big game here to wrap up Baker set 1 from Wichita State, and they're going to go plus for this 4-game block just like that.
That's impressive. I'll run down and get a look at St. Ambrose, and we'll obviously get the score update quickly. It's been great all weekend, so
absolutely.
We'll get a look at that. But if I have a chance to do a little report before we start the next set, I will.
All right, JT, we'll let you get to it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right, folks, as Central Missouri wraps up here on 39 and 40, once again, for the folks watching on Facebook, we appreciate you swinging by, but this sneak peek into the final round of competition at the Mid-States Championships in the men's division is quickly going to transition over to bowltv.com. So if you're watching Bowl TV already, you've probably heard this sales pitch one too many times, but we appreciate you being a part of the Bowl TV community. But if you're watching on Facebook right now, head over to bowltv.com, set up a login, pick up a subscription. You can watch the rest of the event live for $5.95, or you can pick up a monthly recurring or annual recurring subscription and get access to the entire Bowl TV site for $9.95 for the monthly or $79.95 for the annual subscription. So, of course, as we mentioned, we're going to follow and track the progress here at the Mid-States Championships until we get down to the final set of Baker games. We'll continue to have the updates scrolling across the bottom of the screen. All this available over at bowltv.com. So since we're wrapping up game number 1 here, we're going to go ahead and make our own switch and push everything over to bowltv.com. If you're on bowltv.com watching, you have access to not only this channel, which is the main commentary channel, but we have 5 additional channels of coverage available. So essentially we're pulling shots from the live coverage throughout the course of the competition. So we have the ability to hop around pairs, but we have 5 cameras statically set up behind pairs across North Rock lanes. So you can watch 10 teams basically every game. So that's pretty cool to have that. We have varsity and junior varsity in the field, so you can follow and track their progress. We do our best to and we're moving. All right. Jason probably didn't know I still was on that screen. So we're going to go ahead and do this right now. There we go. A little bonus movie is going to adjust the pairs there. We want to get Wichita State and kind of take a look at that first game, knowing how important it was and knowing that they had built up a lead to see if they were going to maintain it there. But it looked like they did. We'll get an update on St. Ambrose sometime shortly as well. But for folks, we're going to go ahead and make the transition all the way over to BowlTV.com. So if you're on Bowl TV, you're going to see a quick ad pop up, and then we're going to go back to the lanes. But for those of you watching on Facebook, please check out BowlTV.com. It takes a second to sign up. If you feel like grabbing a subscription as well, we certainly enjoy you to join the community and check things out. So for Jason Thomas, I'm Aaron Smith. We'll be back for Baker set number 2 from the Mid-States Championships in just a moment on Bowl TV. So everybody hang tight. And remember, on Bowl TV, bowling lives here. All right, folks, we are finishing up Baker set number 1 here at the 2021 Mid-States Championships for the men's final block. So 3 more to go after this, 12 Baker games. But as we have done all week, we're waiting for everybody to finish up so the teams can move in unison in order to keep up with social distancing policies and procedures here. As we've had all week, there's always been a pair buffer in between each competition pair. So waiting for everybody to finish up game 1 before we move on to Baker set 2 for everybody. So that's what we're looking at right now. So in a couple of moments, everyone will be finished up, and then you'll hear the announcements come across, and it'll be time for Baker set 2. So here on 23 and 24, which is also MSC 3, and your channel navigation. We're going to have Wichita State JV number 2 and Iowa Western's JV team join us. So we'll take a look at how they are attacking the lanes. Once again, if you go from channel to channel in the navigation, if you're on a desktop or laptop, it's below the video. You see MSC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the pairs. If you're on a mobile device, you can go in the top right-hand corner. The 4-box window pane will allow you to select those. And we have the teams that will be competing on all those as well. So be sure to check that out. But teams will be moving. Wichita State and Iowa Western JV coming up next here on lanes 23 and 24 from the Mid-States Championships on Bowl TV.
I missed a bit of transition in the second game, but I made a ball change and kind of just moved in a little bit. He's doing RJ stuff that he's got. Even with my biggest ball, I think 6 is still a balance for me. So, yeah, we had 3 in set. I just switched BJ.
Hello again, everybody. Game number 2 of Baker Set 2, just about ready to get underway for Wichita State and Iowa Western, both JV teams out there competing right now. That is Wichita State number 2 and Iowa Western number 1. As we settle into this second Baker Set, it's time to talk a little bit about the standings. So we got some news from the good folks who are taking care of the scores, and that 257, that last game from Wichita State, just absolutely humongous, because we talked about if St. Ambrose was out there grinding out a couple 200s early, put together a nice block, they gave away a lot of pins to start, a couple of 170s, and St. Ambrose actually pretty much did that. So as Wichita State went 177, 174, 190, 194 out of the gates for St. Ambrose. 210 in game 3 for Wichita State, 214 for St. Ambrose. So at that point, it had been about 40, 50 pins that St. Ambrose had picked up. And then that 257 at the end, St. Ambrose put together a great game, 224, but a big momentum swing in favor of the Wichita State varsity squad. So when it was all said and done, St. Ambrose only gained 4 pins, 822 to 818. So we're still right around the same difference, right around 220 pins. 59-68 for Wichita State, 57-47 for St. Ambrose. So not much gained in the first Baker block. Once again, the standings definitely drop off after that. So Wichita State, St. Ambrose are going to be 1-2 regardless of what happens the rest of the way out. Everyone else a little bit too far back. Sitting in third place, about 350 pins back. Yeah, about 350 pins. 53.91 is Newman University, just ahead of Kansas Wesleyan, who is at 53.82, so only 9 pins separating third and fourth place. And then about 80 pins back from that, 52.97. It's going to be Midland University, so that's your top 5. Just kind of rolling down the rest of the varsity standings. Once again, top 5, Wichita State, St. Ambrose, Newman, Kansas Wesleyan, and Midland. Moving on down from there, Oklahoma Christian, 6th. Iowa Western CC, 7th. Iowa Central CC, 8th. Ottawa out of Kansas, 9th. And Barton Community College in 10th place. Continuing on in 11th, Baker, 12th, Drury. Central Missouri in 13th, Lincoln in 14th, Kansas in 15th, Dallas Baptist 16th, and Peru State is 17th place overall. So once again, score's pretty low, just 6 total sets above 700 for 4 games, 2 of them above 800. St. Ambrose essentially did what they needed to do to come out of the gates, but Wichita State, that was a huge 257 to essentially even up the set, not give away any pins, and make that 220 pin lead have to hold for 12 instead of 16 now. So that's pretty big. Essentially, they cut off a fourth of the rest of the tournament. Now that they have to defend to see if they can capture this first title of 2021. So pretty impressive stuff all around. That was fun to watch that whole sequence kind of evolve on 39 and 40. So glad we got the camera out there to see that. Taking a look at the junior varsity standings, top 2 spots only separated by 5 pins so far. So 55-64 to 55-59. As Wichita State won and St. Ambrose won. So I believe they are 1 pair to our left at the moment. So I believe they are on MSC 2. So the Wichita State JV 1 and St. Ambrose 1. Just a couple pins separating them. 5 pins. So the JV battle has been pretty good so far. Sitting in third place, the team we're watching right now, Wichita State JV 2. They're at 53-59, so they're about 200 pins back of the top 2. And then after that, a drop into the 4900s with Newman University, then Midland, Ottawa, and Iowa Western rounding out the junior varsity standings. Once again, we had those rolling across the bottom of the screen as well. So you can see minus 236 to minus 241 on the JV side. So just 5 pins separating Wichita State and St. Ambrose. A little bit different story on the varsity side. The Wichita State men maintaining a 220 pin lead over St. Andrews, 221 to be exact. We are seeing a nice game come together, though, here for Wichita State JV2. And a great question in the chat. I'll toss an answer in the chat as well. Jim, if you're on an iPhone, because I've used that before as well, you're going to want to find the navigation on mobile. You're going to want to go into the top right-hand corner. You'll see a little 4-box window pane. Go ahead and click on that, and then that will give you all the channel navigation options. So you'll see MSC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you'll see you should see the red live button as well. So that will allow you to scroll through the different channels and not just sit on this main one here, but that'll give you the opportunity to hop around the site, check out the other lanes in play. But with that, we're going to go back to full screen. But we'll be back with more updates here momentarily. But we want to get that score update to you good folks. Huge game, 257 to wrap things up there. That could have been, that type of swing that St. Ambrose needed to just get some momentum going. But Wichita State making the right moves on this tricky 38-foot pattern. As JV2 looking to get into the 220s here. Learning from the varsity squad. That's what we like to see. Learning, helping out, teams coming together. So we'll go full screen once again. But we got the score update up there. And if you got any other additional questions, throw them in the chat. We'll get to them. Baker set 2 of 4 underway here. Final round of competition at the 2021 Mid-States Championships. All right, everybody, we are into game number 3 of Baker Set 2. Yep, game 3 of Baker Set 2 here at the Mid-States Championships. Final round of competition for our men's teams in the field in the varsity and junior varsity standings. And I'm going to bring in Jason Thomas right now as we just took a look at a strike from a young Mr. Barnes.
Yes, that's very cool. And there is a connection to Wichita State and a connection to another pair of Barneses, one in particular who also attended Wichita State, and that would be Chris Barnes.
So that was pretty cool. Ryan Barnes, one of Chris's and Linda's sons. I believe he's had a pretty cool story and pretty cool journey in the past couple of months after finishing high school. I'm not sure. I think he played basketball more than bowled throughout high school, but kind of put in the time and the work and worked his way onto the Wichita State squad.
Well, he certainly has some good genes for it.
The genes help, absolutely.
And, a few good coaches and people that are willing to help. So, yeah, that certainly doesn't hurt. But, there's a lot of famous sons and daughters of actors in Hollywood, and some of them go on to be great actors in their own right. But your mom and dad can only get you the job once. Once you get the job, you got to make it on your own. And so looks like young Ryan bowled well yesterday, finished 27th overall, which minus 53 on what we saw yesterday is pretty darn good bowling.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, he's certainly going to have to earn his place on this team, and he's doing a great job so far.
Yeah, it's pretty cool through social media, of course, following Chris, following Linda, you kind of saw his journey, and I think the two-handed aspect of it is pretty new to him as well. I think that's so awesome that he's put the time and the effort in, to essentially look ahead and kind of follow Chris's footsteps over at Wichita State, but doing his own thing along the way as well.
Yeah, it is. And, obviously he's just like his dad and his mom, a great athlete, multi-sport athlete like Chris was. Chris also played basketball at a very high level, and he's basically good at every sport. I don't know if you've ever played golf with Chris Barnes, but if you do, don't bet him. You'll end up losing your money. But I think he's a good athlete. He picks up the game, pretty naturally, and he's been around it his whole life. So And then, the more interest he shows in it, basically, his dad is and mom as well are, an endless well of knowledge on how to play the game and what you need to do in order to get better.
I actually was taking a scroll through social media a couple minutes ago during a quick break here, and I saw Linda actually post a couple of shots here from Bowl TV of Ryan tossing some strikes, and even she had a Go Shockers up there. I think she's, I think in the past she's always joked with Chris about the San Jose State versus Wichita State thing. Obviously, they went to different colleges, but it's fun to see her drop the Go Shocks in there. And she's like, I think she said, can't believe I said that, but yeah, Go Shocks.
Yeah, she's definitely a Shocker mom now.
Mm-hmm. It's very cool stuff. And, throughout the course of, the collegiate season, junior varsity teams tend to stay pretty close to home with events. Obviously, when you look at Wichita State, that's at least 15 players who are jerseyed up essentially for this event. So it's they have their opportunities throughout the course of the year. Obviously, throughout the practices, throughout the tryouts, all that takes part in helping determine the teams. Obviously, the success players have had in the past before, but this is really a great opportunity for not only Ryan but all these players on the JV squad to go up against a tough pattern, as we said, and not only show A, what they have out there, but B, to show how well they can work. I know in talking to coaches and friends who have worked with JV squads, there's always a little bit of even though everyone's wearing the same jersey, there's still a little competitiveness between varsity, JV, JV1, JV2, whatever it may be. So it's definitely an opportunity for all of them to kind of show off here early in the season and potentially work their way up as well.
Absolutely, and that's why it's such a great program. We talked a little bit about it yesterday about how some kids might be turned off by the fact that one of the first things they're going to hear if they're recruited by Wichita State is that hey, you're probably not going to start your first year, and you may not start your second year either. It's a pretty deep talent pool, and I always was fascinated talking to Chris about, because you hear the story of Chris Barnes and you just assume it was easy for him all the way, and he just walked on to Wichita State and being the the local guy, just owned the team from the beginning, and it couldn't have been further from the truth. He had to fight for every single position he got. Struggled in tryouts, early on in his career, and that was what made him. And if you talk to him, he's such a hard worker, and it all really, I'm sure a part of that is just his personality and his DNA, but a lot of it he learned here by fighting his way through the Wichita State program and growing up here.
Absolutely, that's it's almost kind of similar. I think the great tale of that perseverance. The story of Michael Jordan being cut from his high school team or not making the varsity team, and working through that, coming back, and then obviously the rest is history, and makes several members of the Phoenix Suns and Utah Jazz hurt a little bit at night, but yeah, it's kind of that same perseverance. And there's another great shot from Ryan as he's delivered a couple of strikes here throughout the course of Baker's set too. But yeah, definitely working through those moments. And I think that was a great little story of just the bumps along the road that you have to take in order to find greatness. We saw Jillian Martin obviously have an unbelievable moment a couple of weeks ago, but that just doesn't happen. You have to put in the time, the effort, and sometimes for some folks it comes a little bit later, and it's that's the case throughout. At the end of the day, all the success we've seen, time and time again from these great collegiate teams, from these great PWBA stars, from the great players on the PBA tour, is the time and the effort. It's just not always there for them.
Yeah, you're right, Aaron, and it's a process. And Ryan, by the way, throws it pretty nice.
Mhm.
Just kind of a nice, compact, very, very, a lot of bounce in that game. That's what you got to have if you want to, be successful with the two-handed style. And the thing that's impressive about it is he's playing up the lane, hard and straight with a two-handed style. So, the thing that's tricky about the two-handed style is generating ball speed. He has plenty of ball speed. So I'm looking forward to seeing how far he goes. It's all really depends on how much he wants it, I think, because if he wants to do well in the sport, he has all of the support system in place that he'll need to go as far as he wants. So it'll be fun to see how far he decides to take it.
I'm sure a fun week for young Ryan, though. First opportunity to wear the black and yellow in competition this week, so it's cool to see this kind of the passing of the generational torch, if you will. And we will get to see Ryan one more time here before we wrap things up. But a nice little set here from Wichita State JV2. They were sitting in third place overall on the JV side. Pretty close between Wichita State and St. Ambrose. I believe they might be coming here next game to 23 and 24 on the JV side. That is correct. We do have them for Baker set 3. So they'll be heading here next. Just 5 pins separated them heading into this previous round. And as we mentioned, they're bowling with each other throughout the course of competition. So they've been battling all day. So that'll be a fun, almost position round-esque every match for them looking ahead.
Yeah, I mean, those two JV teams would be third and fourth place overall in the on the varsity side. So
good problems to have for Wichita State and St. Ambrose.
Exactly.
Is what I'm hearing right there.
Yeah. And their second JV team would still be in the top 6. So
excellent breakdown there, JT. I like that. like I said, once again, that was always a thing. Like I said, just talking to folks, and if a JV team ends up beating a varsity team out in an event, it's obviously the varsity team is bowling great out here. But if you're the varsity team and the JV squad gets you, it's gonna make practice rough for a couple days. It's gonna make that bus ride back. Depending on how far you're going, you're gonna get an earful from it.
Well, Aaron, you're the expert when it comes to. I mean, shoot, I thought Midland was from Texas earlier in the week. So you're clearly the expert when it comes to college bowling. How often does stuff like that happen? Where like maybe mid-season, a player from the JV team gets moved up and a player on the varsity gets benched?
That's a great question, and I think it varies from program to program. We look at a team that travels with just one team, and usually there's 8 players in the rotation, going to the major events. So, I've heard from some coaches that, essentially your varsity squad is, in a sense, you got 5 or 6 guys who are, pretty locked for the tournament you're going to take to every main event. But I know they're willing to work players in and out throughout the course of the season. So it's not like I don't think there's an official declaration anyone has to make to say, okay, this person is moving to JV. You may not compete at an event or something like that. So it's not that black and white definition, since there's not always JV teams at all events. But for some coaches, it's, watching that performance throughout the course of an event like this, seeing the strides made in practice. But a lot of them, from what I've heard, there's opportunities to essentially bowl for a spot. So heading into event, a coach may have 4 or 5 guys he's interested in who have been taking or having the hard work in practice, showing the strides, working on their game. As we're going to get one last look at Ryan here, and that one will involve a split conversion to keep it clean. But But no, I've known for a few coaches essentially have a kind of like a mini trials, if you will, to kind of earn spots for a particular event. So they'll have to earn it. They show the strides in practice and then have to prove it in a 6-game, 5-game, 8-game environment, whatever it may be. So for some coaches, those decisions are pretty easy. You kind of know your top 4, 5, 6 guys. For other folks, it varies throughout the course of the year. You may only have 2 or 3 guys that are probably going to be at each event. Roster size plays a big deal with that as well. If you're a team that's only 8 or 9 deep, then you're pretty much bringing everybody throughout the course of the event. But for these bigger programs who, could field 2 or 3 teams at an event like this that's close to home, that has room for the JV as well, there's a few different ways to go about it. So, it's an opportunity for playing time. It's an opportunity to show the strides that you've been showing in practice, but it's kind of coach's choice when it comes to that. And so I don't think there's a particular rhyme or reason to it, but from what I've heard, there's a few different ways to kind of go about roster selection and trying to figure out who you want to bring ultimately once you get to the end of the season for postseason play.
Who's the best JV team you've ever seen?
Oh, there's been some. Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm trying to think of a specific tournament because I feel I've been to a tournament or two where you see the JV's numbers and you're like, interesting. Why are they on the JV squad and not on the varsity squad? But I'm trying to think of a specific example. I've seen it a few times where the JV team has put up bigger numbers than the varsity squad. For some reason, I want to feel, because these are my buddies from back home, I feel there was an event where for Calumet College, one that I remember, and this isn't the best. This is just an example. I remember when they bring multiple teams, they have multiple coaches. And I feel there was one event where and Calumet always has a top 10 team out there. And I remember hearing about a JV team ended up beating them in the overall pinfall for an event. And there was a lot of chatter going on about that amongst the inner circles, if you will, from back home in Northwest Indiana. So I think of instances like that, but I can't pick a specific team that I've ever seen. I've known how deep some of these teams are. So, you kind of look at that and look at some folks who progressed throughout their collegiate career. And you look at, we had Lauren Pate on the broadcast earlier today during the women's block. Her brother was JV. Her twin brother, Josh, was JV, I think maybe the first or second year when he was at Wisconsin Whitewater. Josh is a phenomenal player. He ended up becoming an All-American by the time he was done at Wisconsin Whitewater. But they had a team that was so deep and once again, another group that had a bunch of seniors on it, a bunch of upperclassmen. Nick Crummell, who is an all-time great collegiate player. So it was tough to get those reps in and get those opportunities. But he was a player when he got those opportunities. He turned it around. He became one of the best college players in the nation. So I think Josh Pate, kind of the epitome of a player who was a little bit lower down on the depth chart, who made those big strides in his game, took advantage of his opportunities once they became available. You talked about that as well with, having squads. Talk about Wichita State being so deep, you may realize that JV might be your only opportunity. But, Josh took advantage of that. Obviously, his older brother, Nick, a phenomenal player. Lauren, a national champion at McKendree. And to see Josh make those strides as well and become such a great player for a couple of talented Wisconsin Whitewater teams is one of those examples of working your way through the system and when you get your number called, taking full advantage of it.
Well, we're going to have an interesting matchup on our next featured pair. It's going to be the 1 and 2 teams on the JV side.
Let's go. All right.
Yeah. And they're chirping at each other. There's nice action going on, and we just saw them finish up on 19 and 20. Richard Paul came over. He goes, "Did you see that?" And he just threw a 3 in the 10th to build up a little bit more of a cushion. But this should be a good little matchup coming up next on our featured pair.
And even looking at the individual standings, you mentioned team-wise that they were, would be right around the top of in the top 5 as well. But individually, they had a couple players in the top 10. Both of those squads in the top 10, top 15. We talk about the opportunity to showcase and kind of move up to the next level. Richard Paul III is a phenomenal bowler. We've seen that at every level at junior gold team trials. He's had success. He's been on Junior Team USA. But he's coming in here as a freshman, like Ryan Barnes, like Cameron Hurwitz, and those opportunities are going to be limited with so many talented individuals. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and he said all the right things when he was on the show yesterday, and he's a really good kid. And by the way, I have a really great story to tell for the next while we're watching this next match, but. He wants to put on a show here and show everybody that he belongs on the varsity team. So he didn't say that, but that he's burning inside to get an opportunity to move up, and he put on a nice little show that last game to throw 3 in the 10th to give his team an extra 40 pin cushion going into this next set of Baker matches.
There we go. I'm looking forward to it. This is, we had mostly varsity squads yesterday, and with the lane skip, and essentially getting to cover half the teams one day and half of them the next day. I'm excited to see this matchup. It's cool that they're paired up, that standings are close, and once we get an update after, this most recent block, it was just 5 pins heading into Baker set 2. So I'm ready. Let's go. Let's crunch some numbers.
Yes.
JV style. But folks, right now we're in the awkward waiting period, if you will. We do have to wait for every team to finish up in accordance with the procedures and protocols in place for safety and social distancing. So waiting for these final few pairs to wrap up Baker set 2 before we can go into Baker set 3. So right now, that's what we're waiting for. Just everyone to wrap up and safely make a move. We'll hear the announcement over the intercom. That's time to go. JT can hear it much clearer because he's actually there at North Rock Lanes. I'm listening through multiple open tabs when I hear it, so it echoes and goes all over the place. But yes, so that's essentially what we're waiting for right now. But,
we're close. Close. Just 2 teams have a 10th frame to throw, and then we'll be moving on. So it's pretty close.
Fantastic. So, folks, we definitely appreciate all the support, all the chat going on as well. But we're looking forward to being back on Bowl TV, not next weekend, but in 2 weekends from now. The Hoosier Classic going to be looking a little bit different here in 2021, but still going to have a ton of the great talent that we are used to seeing at the Hoosier Classic. We got an email from Nick today with some roster information and everything. So JT and I will be in Indianapolis in a couple weekends for that. Going to be in 2 centers, so that's going to be something new for the Hoosier. Western Bowl is going to be, I believe, the women's house for the weekend, and then Expo Bowl for the men. So that's going to be exciting as well. It's almost 4 tournaments in one weekend, I believe, the way it works out. So it's going to be cool. It's going to be unique. Going to get a lot of different opportunities. And knowing Nick, a lot of different oil patterns to cause collegiate bowlers to scratch their heads and say,
just like this one.
What do we ever do to Nick Hoagland?
Yeah. Yep. It's going to make you think.
Absolutely. And all right, JT, as we are oh so close from making the move, let's take a quick break. We'll get back in Baker set 3. Once we get the numbers, we'll do some math as Wichita State and St. Ambrose JV squads battle for the top spot. And then you said you got a great story as well, so I'm looking forward to hearing that. So, folks, everybody hang tight. We'll be back on Bowl TV for Baker set 3. Just 2 more left to go here at the Mid-States Championships before we crown our champions here on BowlTV.com. So we'll be right back. Baker set 3 coming up next.
Did the whole first semester, I would just whole thing like get on the start you know, you see three here, and then you're like come down off the foundation. We're doing a lot better than some of the bar.
All right, athletes, that is the completion of our second set. You are free to move to your next set of lanes. Again, thank you all so much for utilizing the trash cans, your masks over your mouth and nose. We greatly appreciate it so very much. Once you get settled at your new pair of lanes, you'll be ready to go. Good luck and great scoring.
No, you're all good.
All right. Yes, sir. Put it over here. All right.
Hello again, everybody. We are into Baker Set 3, game number 1 here at the Mid-States Championships. This is the final block, just 2 Baker sets left to go. Less than 8 games of Baker competition until our champions are crowned here at the Mid-States Championships taking place at North Rock Lanes in Wichita, Kansas. I'm Aaron Smith alongside Jason Thomas. We have a score update for you as we're now watching Wichita State JV1 and St. Ambrose JV1 battle out for the top spot. We'll get down to those details in a moment. Taking a look at the overall varsity standings, it looked like this might have been the block where Wichita State essentially put some distance, probably a big amount of distance in between themselves and the rest of the field. St. Ambrose was really the only team in the mix for the top spot. And taking a look at the second Baker set, Wichita State, pretty steady, 208, 200, 173, 203. But for St. Ambrose, who is down 220 pins, 164, 146, 166, 192. So they gave away quite a few pins in that particular block. Basically 100 in those first two games. So right now the difference has ballooned to about 340 pins, with the advantage to Wichita State on the varsity side. So the Shockers getting closer and closer to delivering the sweep this weekend here in the varsity side. The women have already clinched the title with a dominant victory earlier today, but Wichita State men less than 8 games away from sealing up a win to kick off their 2021 campaign. Taking a look at the scores: Wichita State 67-52, St. Ambrose 64-15. So that's the 340 pin difference right there. And then there's another big drop down to third place. So third and fourth are still a battle right now. Newman University holding the edge over Midland by 12 pins, 61-26 to 61-14. And then down to fifth place, 60-61 is Kansas Wesleyan. So that is kind of the lay of the land. Wichita State looking in great position to take home a victory here on the varsity side. JV, it's a little bit closer, folks, and that's what we're getting to watch. We're getting to watch these two teams as they get ready for the end of game one here. 8 pins. 8. That's it. 63-45, 63-37. 8 pins separating JV1 from Wichita, JV1 from St. Ambrose. So essentially this is a position round before the position round. Head-to-head Baker action to determine who's going to win on the junior varsity side. Continuing on in the JV standings, a bit of separation after that, 61-32 for Wichita State JV2, and then some more separation down to fourth place and beyond, 55-82, Newman in fourth, Midland, Ottawa, and Iowa Western CC rounding out the rest of the JV squad. So that's how it's shaping up here, folks. So just 8 pins. Wichita State with the advantage on the junior varsity side. The Wichita State varsity team with about 340 pins advantage with 8 left to go. So, just enough there. It's a chance for St. Ambrose to get into the 170s with a double. Going to be 150 on the nose. For Wichita State, so an opportunity to take the advantage here for the Fighting Bees. Heading into the final 7 games here. That strike there will put them in the lead. All right, 7 games left to go. JV title will be coming down to the final few games here. But as we settle in, we're going to go back to full screen. But we'll keep the commentary rolling. We'll bring in Jason Thomas here in a little bit as well. He said he got a story for us, so we'll be ready for story time. So max now of 168. And a second 2 count of the day here on Bowl TV. Just the 6-9 to start game 2. There's 33 mils, no joke. So with that 168 now, a 10-pin advantage to St. Ambrose. for the top spot in JV, as JT mentioned. These teams actually would be third and fourth overall in the standings right now. And within shouting distance of second place. So shout out to the JV squads working hard this week. All right, good folks, we're settling into game 2 of Baker's set 3. St. Ambrose has moved into the overall lead in junior varsity. They are 10 pins ahead now of Wichita State JV1. But we're going to get to story time with Jason Thomas here, so we're going to bring JT back into the broadcast as we watch this battle for the top spot in junior varsity. St. Ambrose taking the advantage here, liking 23 and 24 so far, but JT is back.
Back in black. Yeah, no, it's this is the place to be right now, guys. This match here is really kind of, I mean, unless Wichita State, you know, the whole team suddenly tests positive for COVID-19 and they have to be replaced by this JV team here. You know, their side of the brackets are pretty close to being wrapped up. So this little JV tilt we've got in front of us right now is where the action is at. And Wichita struggling here in game number 2 of this set.
They've have a few shots they've gotten right here early in game 2 that have, as we have seen continuously on this pattern, have if you get it right too quick, it's you're going to hope it stays on the lane. And we have a 2 count and a 3 count to show for it so far. So we'll see if they can find something here in the back half of game number 2. But yeah, right now St. Ambrose increasing that lead.
And, you know, I think that's been the pattern. We saw Wichita kind of make a comeback the last couple of games in the last set to pull back ahead. They won the last game by 40. So, and you saw they're just 8 pins apart going into this set of matches. So. Good spare there on the 3-6. You said there was another 2 count.
Another 2 count. Yeah, we started this game off with another 6-9.
Wow. You know, Brian O'Keefe always likes to talk about the perfect game. And you know what a perfect game is, right?
I think I know where we're going with this, yes.
Yeah. The hardest one to get's the 2 count. A perfect game is when you bowl a game. It's not a 300 game, contrary to popular belief, which, by the way, there was a 300 game on the PBA show earlier today. I'm not going to tell you who it was in case you DVR'd it and you want to watch it later, but there is going to be that kind of perfect game if you decide to watch the PBA later today. But a perfect game, the real meaning of a perfect game, is a game where you throw every single count from 0 all the way up to a strike in one game. And it's very, very rare, even more rare than a 300 game. But the 2 count is the one that's hard to do.
And that's not counting if you leave an 8 count and get a spare as the 2. It has to be a legit 2 count on the. So you have to go 7-2 or 2-7 as we had in this case to kick off this game.
It's extremely hard to get a 2 on the first ball. As Rodney Dangerfield once said, I should have yelled 2.
Caddyshack, everybody. Caddyshack reference. Bingo sheet. Check it off.
But I did have a little story. It's just a short little quick story, but I thought it was cute. So we all know Bowl TV is an important part of everyone's life. And, you know, for those of us who are subscribers, you know, obviously we spend a huge amount of time in the community. There's, you know, a separate Facebook group for people that, you know, even with the 1,600 hours of coverage that we do each year, still that's not enough time for them. They have to go over to this other community. And I like to think that Bowl TV is, you know, solving a lot of the world's problems. It's making people get along better. It's I'm not going to do the Ghostbusters, you know, dogs and cats living together thing, but you know, it's on that level of you know, bringing people together. And so Richard Paul, I thanked him for coming on yesterday, and he talked about his bowling a little bit, and but he said, you know, Bowl TV is great because for the first time in a long time, it actually got his parents to talk. So I mean, it was a joke. It was funny. I don't know what his situation is with his parents. I assume they're divorced. But he said Bowl TV brought them together, and they were actually talking. So Bowl TV, it bridges the divide between Wichita State people and St. Ambrose people. They can all come together and bond over bowling.
There we go. It's quite the story, JT.
Yeah, you like that?
It's a little long for a slogan, but it's but I enjoyed the community aspect of it as well, and that's one thing we've mentioned quite a bit. And of course, I believe it is the PWBA Bowl TV a fan group that you were referring to, with a lot of great folks in that. just talking about bowling, enjoy getting into the chat room and having a good time watching, chatting, discussing, picking on me mostly, but that's okay. But it really is a great community. It's fun to see the names, and then we've been lucky enough over the years to actually be able to put the faces to the names as well at events. We travel so much throughout the country. We end up in most neck of the woods, if you will. So at PWBA events, collegiate events. Obviously, with the pandemic going on, that's a little bit different with fans coming in, but yeah, it's been cool to meet those folks, and you see the names, you see the avatars, whatever they may be. That's one thing, and you see those consistently, and it's great, and the friendly hellos and all the good stuff. But it's pretty cool to be able to actually come out and meet these folks, and get to enjoy a laugh, because we have a few here on Bowl TV as well. So I think it's cool how kind of all that comes together in this community that just likes watching bowling.
It's pretty cool. And it was cool to do the kickoff classic, obviously, and to see the numbers that came back, after that long layoff where there weren't any live events. It was really, I mean, the chat was hopping during the kickoff classic. It was almost hopping too fast to even follow what was going on in it, which was pretty cool. But these first two collegiate events we've done have been pretty great as well. And I think, this college community is kind of the next big thing for Bowl TV. I think, you guys have done a great job of covering these events in the past, but, with the new way that we have of covering and being able to bring people in from all over the country. I mean, we could even have, who's in the chat right now? I mean, let's bring them on the show. We can do it. It's I saw, Karen Hurwitz is on watching, and she said, thanks for streaming. Linda Barnes said, thanks for streaming, watching her son compete probably right now. He's on not the featured pair, but one pair over. So it's just a really cool thing that we've started. And, it's like you said, a great community, and it brings people together who love bowling.
That's what we're all about, bringing the good vibes of bowling through the airwaves of Bowl TV. Up next on the top 20 countdown.
So it looks like Wichita State's kind of flirting with that big jump to the left. We saw Richard Paul, his first go at it on game number 2 there on lane 23 was out to the right, and then he jumped left, for his 10th frame, got the first hit, and then got one up a little bit. Remember, there's no hold on this pattern, so once you jump in, you still can't shove it left and expect the ball to lay off. He got that second one a little bit going up towards the head pin, and it didn't lay off, but it didn't miss the head pin left. It just left a 3-6-10. So we're starting to see these teams make that jump that we saw, the Wichita State varsity team make right around the start of game 3, and that's where we are. I think I kind of said it earlier today. Mm-hmm. By the time we get into game 3, you're going to start to see these teams try to make that jump to the left.
With 2 games left to go in Baker's set number 3, the lead now 33 pins to the advantage of St. Ambrose after games of 168 and 184. Some struggles for Wichita State, 150 and 161. So, but we've seen that certainly go quickly in the other direction. So it's going to be fun to watch these 2 teams battle it out here toward the end. We have the option to watch them one more game as well. So we might head over there for the finale as well here on the main channel to see who's going to take home this JV title. Once again, the varsity division just about wrapped up. Wichita State expanding its lead to more than 300, or right around 350 pins during that last block. So in pretty good shape with 8 to go, but plenty to be settled here on the JV side.
Yeah, the varsity side, you're talking, they'd have to lose 40 pins a game. It's a pretty tall order. but the JV still a lot left to be decided.
Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you can see just by those last couple of shots that it's really hard. One of the tough things about bowling on patterns like this is you grow up bowling and you grow up just chasing the oil line to the left, right? And so, you know, the ball hooks early, so you just move a little left and you just kind of parallel everything in with your feet. That's not how it works on this pattern. If you try to parallel your eyes in with your feet, the ball doesn't get far enough right to lay off on the back because the pattern's so short. The ball's going to want to start hooking, you know, as soon as it gets out of that end of the pattern. And because there's so much volume in the front, the ball is going to save a lot more energy. So when it actually does hit the back part of the pattern and hit some friction, it's going to want to, you know, make a left turn. So you really have to work on getting your eyes further to the right so that you're not, you know, doing that kind of natural motion to you know, keep the ball parallel in front of you. You really have to go to the right of that. And there's a couple ways you can do that. You could just move your eyes right of where it's comfortable for you, because normally you'll line up and your eyes will naturally go to a spot where you're comfortable playing that line. You move your eyes to the right of that, but a lot of times I've found that doesn't work. So one of the things I would do is I would actually spot further down the lane, whether it's, you know, the reflection of a pin or whether it's a down lane marker, something that just allows you to trick your body into seeing the angle a little differently, because your body, even if you tell it, hey, I want to do this, it just doesn't look comfortable or feel comfortable. You almost have to trick your body into doing what you want it to do.
I would agree with that. That's I think probably a tough thing for a lot of folks. And you know, when you go to these events with tougher conditions, nice washout cover there from Wichita State, that becomes a thing. You know, no way in shape comparison whatsoever, comparing it to this pattern these competitors are bowling on, but even switching houses sometimes in a league setting. I had that for a tournament a couple of months ago, bowling over at City View Lanes. Much different than what I was kind of used to at Forum, but it kind of involved that same thing of I had to open up my angles incredibly steep in the early going, which is something A, I don't like to do, B, I don't like to do, and C, I really don't like to do. And it was difficult to visualize, okay, this angle doesn't make sense to me because A, I don't have the rev rate, and B, my ball just doesn't do that. But that ended up being the only way to consistently get to the pocket. You know, carrying on that particular day was a whole different level. But you know, you had to take your visual aspect of it out of the comfort zone and used to the shapes you're seeing in order to make it work. And yeah, it was weird. Like, especially, you know, now that my competitive aspect and all that is very minimal outside of league once a week. Seeing that different type of shape was fun. It was challenging. It was scary. It was all that good stuff. So getting out of that comfort zone is important throughout the course of this. And I know that's something that these competitors face pretty much every single week out here.
Yeah, and you know, you just watched the last player for Wichita wash out, and the shot before that, you know, he went very high, and so, you know, I think he made a ball change there, and what he did was he just made what a traditional move he would normally make, and because he balled down, when he threw the ball right, the ball didn't have enough juice to get back. And so it's very counterintuitive. You think, well, if I'm going to move left away from the friction, I don't want to ball up, right? But you actually need to, because you're creating so much angle through the front that you need something that's going to bite back once it gets out of the end of the pattern. And so it just feels it's just counterintuitive to what you learn, and most people learn on house shots and shots that aren't as difficult as this one. And if you do happen to learn bowling on something this difficult, I feel sorry for you. But that's what's so difficult about this pattern, is that it really forces you to do things that you're naturally not used to doing. You're not used to throwing the ball away from you like that with a more aggressive ball. It just doesn't make sense.
An excellent rundown and an excellent shot to set up the night there for St. Ambrose, finding some momentum late here in Game 3 of Baker's Set 3. Just a couple more games to go, JT. We're almost to the finish line.
We are, and it's gonna be nice because we're gonna finish up right around the time before people are getting ready to watch a little football game this afternoon. So thank you all for tuning in and spending your day with us, and then watching some awesome football.
It's really a nice full day, nice full Sunday.
It is. Now, I'm gonna watch it in my car. Luckily, I have YouTube TV, so it's all set up on my phone. I'm gonna pack up the gear, slam the trunk, and head down 35E South and watch Tom Brady take on Patrick Mahomes on my phone in my car.
Well, please be careful, because that sounds potentially dangerous, but I'm glad you're going to be able to watch the game, though. So that is
technology,
important.
man. I mean, 20 years ago, I'd have to spend another night in Wichita, which I don't mind doing. I like eating pizza at AJ's and hanging out in Wichita. But technology is pretty awesome. You can watch Bull TV anywhere you go, and you can watch the Super Bowl from I-35.
There we go. The tale of a day from Jason Thomas. I like it. All right. St. Ambrose is going to add on to its lead once again here. Taking advantage of a three-bagger at the end of that game, finishing with 182.
Richard's playing them correctly, so watch what he's doing. See how far right he gets it quickly. He's just such a natural talent. He's just got such a great imagination for the game. He can play so many different angles, and he has so many different tricks. And he's truly one of the special talents that we have, in youth bowling, now collegiate bowling.
I'm a big fan of the wingspan as well. I'm going to make that a bowling thing, by the way. I know that's more of a basketball term, but you see more and more players kind of with Richard's build, just the long arms, able to do some pretty cool things to the bowling ball. As that's a not so fun break, but
at least it was on the second shot in the 10th, not the first shot in the 10th.
True.
But yeah, he's just such a wow.
Oh. What are the odds that both of them get picked up right now?
Low, but there could be one. There could be one. I wouldn't put it. We've seen the pins bounce out here, so come on, Richard.
Thought about it.
Got over the top of the deck.
51 pins now, the advantage.
Still got one more chance here, Aaron. See a 7-10 picked up. Come on, you got to hit one. Oh well.
They heard her groaning on the approach. They had to step off there.
I was hoping. I've called a few on internet bowling streams.
We actually had 2 of them from the Hoosier Classic last year, so potentially some more excitement coming up in a couple of weeks. But actually 2 competitors competing this week as well. We had Dakota Solanka from St. Ambrose pick one up, and then a little bit later in the bracket play, granted it was on I believe it was on the fill ball, so it was a similar situation to what Richard just had there, where he already had 1 strike in the 10th, but Brandon Biondo picked it up as well. Unfortunately, in that particular instance, it was just cool to see because the match was already, or the game was already over. But always cool to see pins fly out and cross the deck and do cool things like that.
Yes. I've seen a few in my days at Extra Frame. I saw Brian Voss make one. That was pretty epic. In the early days of Extra Frame, I saw Mika Koivuniemi make one at the Masters, which was pretty cool. Patrick Allen was on the call there. And I actually, it's kind of tongue-in-cheek. I used to always say, hey, every time someone leaves the 710, I'm going to predict they're going to make it. So that when he actually does, on the 100th time, when they actually make one, I have a clip of me predicting that someone's going to make a 710. And so it was early on in the day, very early morning. We were all kind of just trying to, put an IV in our arm with coffee in it to get the day going. And Oscu Palermo left one. And I said, okay, he's going to make it. He's going to make the 710. I've seen him make it so many times, and he's going to do it. And lo and behold, he makes it. And I'm sure that clip has a few 100,000 views on YouTube now.
JT with the bold prediction. Oh, maybe not so bold with Oscu.
Yeah, I mean, if I strung a clip together of all the times I predicted it was going to be made and how many times it wasn't, I think we'd be around the percentage that a 710 is actually made, which is like 0.01%.
It sounds similar to my 300 percentage so far on calls this season as well. All right, this is final game of Baker, set number 3. So these teams will continue to battle over on lanes 27 and 28 next after this. But struggles for WSU, 150, 161, 164. St. Ambrose has just been a little bit further ahead each game. So the difference has gone from an 8-pin advantage for Wichita State to a 51-pin lead for St. Ambrose headed into this final game. Games of 168, 184, and 182 have allowed the Fighting Bees to buzz their way to the top of the leaderboard.
Wow, nice.
I've been waiting to do that all week. So,
analogy or metaphor? Is that a metaphor?
It's a way of life, is what I call it.
But we're going to have the, and I would assume you would be putting, this final match on our featured for the last set of Baker matches.
Absolutely, yeah. It will make sense to continue the good vibes that we are seeing here, and hopefully a exciting finish as well. So we will join these squads as they head over to 27 and 28.
Good try. Yeah, I think the most impressive thing about Richard, just watching him bowl his last couple of games, is how easily he was able to make the jump from playing out to playing in, and basically, didn't even miss a step. He struck his first shot when he moved in on the left lane, and then went a little high on the next one. He grabbed that one a little bit. It was a pretty good shot, but just caught a little too much of it. and that one jumped high on him. But just how easily he's able to just move around wherever he wants on the lane and almost not miss a beat. That talent comes along pretty rarely.
And I think that's a big part of being a successful collegiate player is having that versatility and that adaptability to be able to create the right type of angles and right types of shapes in those moments, based and dictated off of what the lane is telling you to do. Because obviously you're going to have players out there who are very good at playing straight. You're going to have players who are very good at opening up the lane. But when you can find some players who can show that adaptability across multiple patterns, across multiple parts of the lane, that's when you know you got a strong player and someone who's going to be making some big shots for you at some point in their collegiate career.
Yeah, and it's possible, that he liked that shot because, one of the things that's difficult about Baker is that, we found when we did Journey to 900 with Earl, the robot, that every 5 shots you have to move. And so your turns in Baker are coming up every 5 shots. So it's very rare that you especially in this day and age with the equipment being what it is, where you can actually, strike in let's say you're the 2 and 7 player, or 2 and 6 player, where you'll throw a strike in frame 2 and then stand the same exact spot and strike again in frame 6. So it's possible Richard just missed a move there.
Yeah, that's certainly a big part of the communication that we speak of. That it has to happen. Is absolutely 100% necessary to be a successful collegiate team in the Baker format. Is offering that instant feedback as you wait for your next opportunity. That's as you talked about. I think the comparison with Earl was a good one. The only time we really saw it hold for a long time was that one episode we used plastic, and outside of 1 or 2 strange moves, it was pretty much on top of each other the whole time. But yeah, just making those subtle adjustments throughout the course of it to continue to hold on to the pocket and make those moves and make sure your teammates are doing the same thing as well is a tough thing to handle.
And the other thing too about that is when they're tough, it's really hard to know if it was you or the lane. That's always the big thing. I was talking to Tom Frenzel the other day. I was actually bowling down in the ITRC, and he was watching me bowl, and I missed the move. I went high on a shot, and then I didn't move, and I went high again, and I said, hey, that was on me. This pattern that I'm bowling on is too easy to believe that it was not me and it was the lane. So, you really, when they're easy, you really have to throw it completely awful for it to be, a you problem. Usually it's the lane. But when they're this tough and you almost have to make a perfect shot in order to strike, it's very hard to see when it's the lane and when it's just you.
I will not argue with you on that. So we get ready for the 9th and 10th frames here. Final game. An opportunity for St. Ambrose to double up and potentially add on to its lead heading into the final 4 games. So we see the washout there from Wichita State.
Yeah, this could be a huge swing right here with, Wichita having a chance to actually cut into the lead a little bit with 3 frames to go. And now they're potentially looking at 140 and St. Ambrose potential 189. Not going to happen, but
yeah, definitely a lost opportunity though for Wichita State in this particular game.
Well, they're definitely going to be behind going into the final set of Baker games here coming up next, but it's certainly going to be close enough that we're going to have a match.
Absolutely, yes. This is certainly within range. So one team finding a quick look, putting together a couple strikes, all of a sudden, any type of deficit, it's going to be wrapped up just like that. But opportunity for St. Ambrose to push this up to 60, 70 pins, with just 4 to go. See if RP3, the Milkman, it's my new favorite nickname.
Good pitch. Just and left the 7-10. A few frames back in the at the end of the last game, and I think it's possible. It's hard to tell from back here, but it's possible the grab that he big forward on was a response to just trying to get the ball to check up and hit a little bit harder, and then he was a little smoother off of that one, and was back to the flat 10 reaction. Really not. I don't know how much there would be to learn on this fill ball, but usually when you have that reaction, unless you've got a pretty deep bag of tricks with your physical game, it's hey, let's get a look at a different ball. But as hard as they are, when you find the pocket, it's really tough to pull the trigger on a ball change.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Well, thanks. Appreciate it, 9-pin.
That's Chris Barnes used to say that's an instant ball change. If I go flat 10, solid 9, instant ball change.
Instant ball change. Well, we'll go ahead and follow that to the next pair. So it looks like the difference is going to be 59 pins advantage St. Ambrose on the JV side heading into the final Baker set here. So JT, we will move along with them once we complete everything around the house. Looks like we're just about done on 19 and 20. All done on 27, 28, 35, and 36. So potentially a few outside pairs wrapping up. But we'll take this opportunity to take a quick break. But we'll be back for Baker Set 4 here from the Mid-States Championships on Bowl TV. JT, we'll let you get back to it for just a sec. We'll bring you back in a couple of minutes. And we'll go full screen, folks, as we wait for the opportunity to move pairs. So we'll be right back here on Bowl TV for the final 4 games of competition from the Mid-States Championships, North Rock Lanes, Wichita, Kansas. We'll be right back. Thank you again for watching us all weekend long here on Bowl TV.
All right, now please, that concludes the third set. Okay, remains now you're going to move into your final 4 Baker games. As you all conclude today, please remember to clean up your area before leaving. Make sure that you double check your equipment to make sure that you have your equipment. Make sure that you have all of it. Make sure you have your bowling supplies. We will, at the conclusion of this set of matches, we will have an awards presentation at the end as well. All right, once you get to your gear and you're ready to go, good luck and good bowling.
All right, good people. Baker set 4. The final 4 Baker games of the Mid-States Championships here in 2021 are now underway. We're going to get you a recap on the standings here in just a second, but we'll get you some scores here as we finish up game number 1 here. We are watching, once again, the junior varsity showdown between Wichita State number 1 and St. Ambrose number 1. We were correct on the math after Baker set number 3, 59 pin advantage to the St. Ambrose JV team. And it looks like they're going to build upon that here after game 1, a chance to get to 205. A little bit different story for Wichita State, trying to get some anything going here. And they're going to finish with a 140. So that's going to be a big, potentially 60-pin swing right here. And give St. Ambrose about 100 pins and change to work with heading into the final 3 games. With the spare 195, make it 55 on top of the 59. So pushing more than 110 pins the difference now. With 3 games left to go. So we'll get to see this Wichita State JV team can rebound here, find some strikes, and put some pressure on in these final 3 games. Nice opening effort, though, from St. Ambrose coming out of the gates. Bounced back nicely after an early open. Put together a solid Baker game. Taking a look at the varsity standings, not much has changed. Wichita State continues to lead by a bunch. So essentially just a couple of games away, filling a few frames from having a Wichita State sweep on the varsity side for both the men and the women. 75-11 so far, the total for the Wichita State men. They are 458 pins ahead of second place St. Ambrose, who's at 70-53. Still a battle for third place between Newman and Midland, 68-89 for Newman, 68-69 for Midland, so just 20 pins separating them. And then about 90 pins down to fifth place, Kansas Wesleyan at 67-78. So that is the tally on the varsity side. So other than for third and fourth place, kind of wrapped up with those first few spots. Taking a look at it, the St. Ambrose team, we mentioned that the top 2 junior varsity teams would be third and fourth in the standings. Their totals 7,025 for St. Ambrose and 6,966 for Wichita State. That still holds true. But St. Ambrose, we talked about the junior varsity team potentially catching a varsity team. Man, making a long bus ride home. There's only 28 pins separating the JV team from the varsity team now. So they look pretty set on that second place spot. And if the JV team keeps doing what it's doing, they're going to be the top spot in JV. But some potential bragging rights at stake here for the JV squad to potentially catch the varsity team here in Baker competition. So a little extra excitement for them on a personal level with the other teams. So we talked about those being happening from time to time out there, and an opportunity for some of the JV guys to give the varsity team a hard time, Mighty Duck style. So looking forward to that potentially if it happens. But we still got 3 games to go here to figure out who's going to take over the JV spot. We'll bring Jason Thomas back in as he looks ready, willing and able to join the Bowl TV broadcast here at the Mid-States Championships.
Ready, willing, and able. That's me. Well, what do you think here? Wichita has a chance. Not if St. Ambrose carries Brooklyn's.
No, they're going to need some help here. The difference now, 114 with 3 games left to go. So we'll have to start seeing some strikes here from Wichita State and a little help along the way. But you never know. A couple 220s in here all of a sudden could quickly flip the script, if you will. But the big scores have slowed down a lot here, it looks like, throughout the course, not just here on our feature pairs, but across the house, kind of looking at the standing sheet. Going to go back to the varsity side, but I have not seen a lot of big games outside that 257 we saw earlier today, which really shifted everything for Wichita State and kind of propelled them to where they are at now. They kind of cut down the little run that St. Ambrose is making on the varsity side, but there are not a lot of big games up on the board here in Baker today.
Yeah, that 257 was a statement, and that was kind of also before the lane started to open up a little bit. So that was kind of the, hey, we're not giving this one away, guys. Don't even try it. Don't even think about it.
And the scoring pace has reflected that since the end of that game. Just taking a look, St. Ambrose on the varsity side hasn't cracked 200 since then. They bowled very well in that opening set, but have not been able to get it going. For Wichita State, a high game of 208 since then on the varsity side. So scoring pace has kind of slowed down, but kind of that initial knockout with the 257 kind of sealed the fate on the here at the Mid-States on the varsity side.
Ooh, tomahawks the messenger.
Look at these guys. Look at this energy.
Yeah.
Who would have thought they bowled 5 games yesterday and coming up on 16 Baker games today? I don't know if the scores are getting passed around here or how much the teams are talking back and forth, but I think this team knows they're within striking distance of the varsity squad.
Yeah, you think so? I think that's part of the.
I think it is as well. I mean, it's fun to toss some strikes and be the top team in JV, but if they can walk home this week and finish second technically overall, I think they would. They'd have a lot of fun with that in practice over the next couple of weeks. Wait until the next event, and potentially a little bit of a wake-up call for the varsity squad as well, knowing that this team is deep.
Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of hang on that left lane for Wichita, and it's going to be interesting because St. Ambrose is going to have to flip over and bowl in that lane. My guess is there was a lot of urethane that went down that lane, early on in the day, and so there's probably a little bit of carry down lane, and the ball is just not. And it's interesting, the move that you make off that, can't move right because then the pattern's short. So the move that you make off that is you actually try to get it right a little earlier with a stronger ball, and it's just not a move anybody's used to making. It makes no sense. But usually when you 2-8-10, Aaron, do you say I need to throw it further to the right? I need to get it right a little quicker. Have you ever said that to yourself after leaving a 2-pin?
Not usually, no.
No, you never say that. But that's the move, and it's just really hard to force yourself to do it. I mean, you've seen, the last 5 or 6 shots, every shot's been light. Look at that. There's just a ton of carry down on that lane, but you can't move right to hit it, or the ball's just going to go the other way. Going to miss the head pin left.
St. Ambrose looking ready to put the finishing touches on this junior varsity victory here. Looking strong here, an opportunity to get into the 220s here.
Look at that hang. Man, that ball was even in a little bit.
That looked like a pretty good shot overall.
Yeah. But yeah, as soon as you square up to it,
it's moving.
Left city. Well, still not over. Wichita can find a way to make this spare and punch in the 9th and 10th. Bail out 190. Maybe pick up a few pins. Get the deficit under 100 going into the last 2. Still doable.
Again, we're at unofficially 114 pins advantage for St. Ambrose.
This is where you want to slow everything down. Let's think about it. Let's talk about what's going on. Give ourselves a chance. I mean, it's very clear what the pattern is that Wichita is running into. Every shot's been light. What do you do? Every shot has been light. And the thing that's frustrating, I think, for them is they're so close.
Mm-hmm.
They're so close to having this, because if you can leave a 2-8-10 6 shots in a row, you can hit the pocket 6 shots in a row. Right? I mean,
that's I can't argue with that logic. No, not at all. You'd prefer not to have to 2-8-10 6 times to do that, but yes, I agree 100%. So yeah, that's a frustration too, because I think these last few shots, they felt like they're making the shots they want to make. It's just not seeing the whole picture hasn't come clear just yet.
It's so
and
funny.
Another one.
It's just those shots they're throwing have been really good. They're getting it exactly to the spot they want to get it to. The problem is it's not bouncing off the spot. And it actually makes me think they could actually square up to it a little bit. But I bet you that's what they're trying to do, and it's just not bouncing off the corner. They need the ball to bounce a little sooner than it is. And the only way to do that is to get it right a little quicker. Yeah, that's big trouble right there. Another 29 pins. They're down 143 with 2 to go.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. But once again, we do get the switch of lanes here. So, yeah, stranger things have happened. If that hang spot continues to be burdensome for our competitors here.
The other thing too
quick momentum
is JV number 2 for Wichita could end up with the higher finish, which, I'm sure that'll have some bragging rights.
Yeah, they were. Let's see. I had that up momentarily.
Yeah, they were down 135 pins going into
135.
this
Yep.
set.
St. Ambrose able to find the strike to kick things off there. It almost looked like they were a little bit farther left than what we had been seeing from Wichita State those past few shots.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what St. Ambrose runs into on lane 27. Obviously, this young man's not going to be affected by it too much.
More southpaws for St. Ambrose, folks.
Yeah, just hard throwing, high rev rate. Man, you get what's kind of cool about this team is you actually could throw this young man on the varsity on a tournament where the left side's a little friendly, and you'd have no chance to beat this team.
Cleans up the spare, and yeah, that's we talked about that a little bit yesterday. Essentially, three southpaws in the regular rotation on the varsity side for St. Ambrose and Jordan Monins, Nate Stubler, and Cameron Crow. But the past few years, they've been just as strong on the right side. And, Stubler and Crow are at that type of level to where you're probably going to keep them in no matter what, unless they are completely shut out. But they have plenty of firepower from both sides of the lanes. And when they get it going, it's this is a dangerous bunch.
Yeah. Ooh. It's close. But you notice, that first shot for Wichita goes high. And, you wonder if they actually were, continuing to keep making moves off of those 6 or 7 consecutive light hits, or if they just went into that lane just saying, hey, let's just play it the same way and see what the ball does. My guess is that right lane's not as tight down lane as 27 was. Yeah, look at that. That wasn't light.
Yeah, that one got left quick, and left quick has not been good today or yesterday.
But that's what you do when your last several shots have been good and you've left a 2-8-10. You say, well, I can't trust it, and that's exactly what this pattern is tricking you into doing. It's tricking you into doing the opposite of what you should be doing. Everybody on the team should have been paying very close attention to that shot right there.
Excellent shot. St. Ambrose clean through 4. Wichita State connecting for its first mark there in the third, looking for a double.
It's there. It's there. Richard Paul can strike here. They're still alive. Okay.
Nice little 3-bagger.
Yeah.
Some momentum.
Here's the wiggle. It's a good shot there, and the ball hit that little down lane patch and never made it back around the corner. Let's see if Wichita can keep the pressure on. It's just hard to force yourself to throw it right when you've seen the ball 2-8-10 the last bunch of shots.
Yes, the body is telling you to do much different things in that situation.
Whew.
I feel 2-8s aren't fun to shoot in this
No.
this environment.
No. Especially when, I mean, it doesn't seem like St. Ambrose has had, you know, the trials and tribulations of Wichita on this left lane yet. But yeah, when you start to see the ball wiggle like that, and then you got to shoot a 2-8 to try to get the ball to come in at a sharp angle to make the back pin, that is not a fun spare to look at. Whoa.
So you see them making the move. They're certainly far enough left, but like you talked about, just the visualizing opening it up that much on this pattern is it's making it tough to let go of it that early. You can your eyes and everything you've done actually tells you, okay, you got to help this get left, but it doesn't have to get left. It has to get right.
That double there might be the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, real nice game here in game 3 of Baker set 4 for the Fighting Bees. Still got 236 out there. Field frame stayed clean. Wichita State finding a little bit of momentum, but don't think it's going to be enough here with just 1 to go. I like this St. Ambrose group.
Yeah.
I like the varsity group. I like the JV group. I like everything
about
about St. Ambrose.
They're going to be a good team for a long time to come.
Stepping up in the 10th. Chance to get to 236. That one is not going to get back from that far. But in the 2-0, two teams here with the conversion.
Yeah, 213 with the spare and a strike. Best Wichita can shoot now for this game is 200. So mathematically it's not over, but the magic number is awfully low.
The magic number returns on Bowl TV, folks. Yeah, with a strike on the fill, 213, strikeout with the spare conversion here in the 9th for Wichita State. Another 13 pins makes it 156. So, yeah, that becomes pretty simple right there.
So mathematically, going to go ahead and give the Wichita State University men's varsity team the championship here. So congratulations to Wichita State.
Absolutely.
Both the men's and the women's titles here at the 2021 Mid-States Championships.
Really some brilliant moves we got to watch here on Bowl TV from that Shocker varsity squad, and making the move in Game 3 yesterday, and putting together the big game at the end of Baker's set number 1. Really was fun to watch.
It was, and they are a good team. They've got a nice mix of veterans and young players, but you know they're always going to be there. And we're watching obviously the future of the program here with the JV team, even though they're not going to get the win more than likely today. They're going to be keeping this program at the top of collegiate bowling for a long time to come.
Building the foundation.
So 147 is the magic number for St. Ambrose. And every time Wichita State misses, that number will go a little bit lower.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say they find a way to get there.
You don't think Wichita State's going to shoot 300 this game and St. Ambrose 147 or less?
I don't think we could get. I'm trying to think of a team that I would want in this opportunity to shoot 300 out here after everything we've seen, and I don't know how many teams there are out there in the world that can put up 300 at this moment, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah, and we're not going to see it. Magic number now 137. But also have to mention Ottawa winning the women's JV earlier today. And so it won't be a complete sweep for Wichita State. They didn't take home the JV titles in the men's or the women's. But how big of a, you being the collegiate bowling expert, how big of a feather in the cap of the programs is winning the JV title?
I think, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure. I think it's, it's certainly nice. It's nice to come away with that. And, those players work into the top 5 for the all-tournament team. So I know on the men's side, I believe we had a JV player make the all-tournament team. So, they're always looking out for that. But Essentially it's I think it's a combination of sometimes the scores get a little out of hand on the JV side when comparing some of the teams and some of the programs. So I think there's a few teams that kind of, when they have the JV team out there, they probably expect they're going to do pretty well in those standings. Obviously this was a great matchup between Wichita State and St. Ambrose throughout the course of this competition. But I think a lot of it for the JV squad is taking a gander at those varsity standings. Like I said, it's always nice to take home a victory in your division, but you're curious how you stacked up against the rest of the folks. Obviously, these athletes are competitors. They want to be out there. They want to be starting. They want to be making the big shots for the team down the stretch and winning the ITC in the future. So I think for a lot of them is kind of stacking up and kind of looking at those overall scores, especially, having the same pattern across the whole house. Everyone's hitting the same pairs. They're all kind of getting that same experience. So I think the win is nice, but for the St. Ambrose team, seeing that they finished, maybe second or third or fourth, whatever it may be at the end in the overall standings, is going to be the big confidence boost for this group. It's once again, and you talked about it a little bit with Wichita State. For some folks coming into a program, knowing that they might have to take a year or two to make it to the varsity squad, just because a team is so deep and has so much talent. But you still want to make good showings out there, and I think that's what both of these teams that we've watched these past two games have done out there very well. Essentially putting together top 5 performances. So we like that. We're still seeing the energy out there from them as well. As Wichita State putting together a couple strikes here, trying to keep that number the same for you, so you don't have to do as much math. But yeah, it's a nice win. But I think there's definitely some comparing notes to those varsity standings when it's all said and done.
Look at this, Wichita State coming home with a few strikes.
Make it 5 in a row, and and something like this too. This is in talking about these particular players and looking ahead to what they're going to be as part of this program. Going out and finishing strong, and come on, 4-pin, get out of there.
Oh.
But this type of finish, these are 2 long days. 5 traditional games. You're on the lanes for 6 hours, not counting practice and warm up and stretching and getting ready and everything. 16 Baker games. This is about a 4-hour block without any of the practice time, any of the warm up, getting to the center, checking in, all that stuff, making sure all your thumbs fit and everything. So showing this at the end as well, even in a moment where they're not going to necessarily get the JV title, goes a long way in the resilience factor, and a thing that the coaching staff is going to like to see, that these guys kind of mailed it in this last game. They're not doing that whatsoever. So that's what we like to see, the continued grinding, trying to figure it out till the last shot, till the last opportunity you got out here on the lanes is something that you got to have instilled in you to be a part of a successful collegiate bowling program. And taking frames off, kind of finishing, just being happy to finish is not going to cut it at these schools. So that's what you like to see, and that's going to go a long way for these players as well. Just showing this fight and determination here at the very end. This is the last game.
And they're not going to finish second to the second JV squad either. Little bragging rights on campus.
You got to have it. Got to have it.
So with those misses, St. Ambrose JV team is going to take home the JV title. So congratulations to them. Looks like without doing all the math, they could finish as high as third overall, right?
Depending on what St. Ambrose, they were only 28 pins behind St. Ambrose for second place, the varsity team. So depending on how the varsity team did, they were within striking range of that. So this is, this is
impressive. So could finish as high as second
in the overall,
in the main draw.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, that's going to be the thing that going to make practices fun the next few days, potentially for the Fighting Bees looking ahead to the rest of the year. Obviously, this is tournament number one for a lot of teams, but you like to see that fire and that energy from your young players.
Oh, dirty.
Give us the good hits here at the end. Come on.
Just roll down the 2-8-10.
We need those hits in our lives.
Looks like Richard Paul II wanted to thank Bowl TV. He said, someday I will tell you just how deep RP3's love for bowling and milk really goes.
How about that? I like the sound of that. The milkman. See a few folks commenting in the chat, and Justin Aboud from St. Ambrose, yes, was a player. Was part of the JV squad who earned a spot on the all-tournament team, finishing third overall. So shout out to Justin. Awesome performance this weekend.
Look at him running it out.
All right. How about that?
It's a little fun. A little fun to end the day. Possible 249.
This is it, folks. Our final shots of the day here from the Mid-States.
Oh,
nice 248 out of the to finish things up here for Wichita State. Excellent performance courtesy of St. Ambrose JV squad. Going to earn the top spot there. Potentially, just look at the scores, top three overall. At the end of the day, when you look at it, for ranking points and stuff, that all goes toward the varsity squads for the year-long rankings throughout the course of the regular season. But yeah, these young men will look at that info, I'm sure, pretty closely tonight as 3-6-10 conversion wraps it up. And tip of the hat for some nice performances here over the course of the entire weekend.
it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Obviously we know all the things that have been said about the Wichita State program and over the years, and it's not going anywhere. It's still right on top. They're going to be a team to watch as the season, picks up steam, and we cover it here on Bowl TV, and we'll have a number of these marquee events, starting with the Hoosier Classic in 2 weeks. A lot of other events going on around the country, but the season will continue and will culminate with ITC's sectionals and the national championships at the end of the road. So looking forward to that, and a lot of great competition over the next few months here on Bowl TV.
It's going to be awesome, folks. Hoosier Classic in 2 weeks. Wichita State sweeping the varsity spots, though, here at the Mid-States Championships, the 61st edition. Big thank you to Billy Murphy from Newman University and Holly Harris from Wichita State for their hospitality and hosting the event this week. On the collegiate side, of course, North Rock Lanes, the tremendous hosts of Frank and Kathy DeSocio. Brent Bowers, the GM there, always top-notch, always a great tournament venue. Shout out to North Rock Lanes, as well as the great city of Wichita, Kansas. One of my favorite out there for sure. So JT, we had a lot of great guests today, yesterday as well. Matt Russo and Lauren Pate joining. I want to give a shout out to Brianna Clemmer. She never made it onto the show, but she was trying to find a way to work in some time. She got caught up with work a little bit. She was going to come and join on her lunch break, and I said, we'll find another time. Brianna, you enjoy your lunch break while you're at work. So that's how dedicated she was to wanting to join the show. But we're going to have her on another tournament and get to chat with her as she prepares for her rookie season on the PWBA tour. But definitely want to give her a shout out for trying to find a way to find some time to join us as well. But Jason, we're all in the books here. We're gonna go big screen here, just like that, and. We got a pair of Wichita State champions. We got some great performances from some junior varsity squads. We got a tournament in the books, essentially, outside the final few pairs finishing up. And we got a story to write and a live stream setup to tear down.
That's true. Looking forward to, getting on the road and watching the Super Bowl. But before I go, like you said, a lot of people to thank. And I really, really, really enjoyed watching the competition here this weekend. A lot of great talent, a lot of players who it's so nice to see them get back out on the lanes and have a chance to show their skills. Some of the older players one last hurrah before they graduate and move on to whatever it is they're going to be moving on to in their lives, whether it's getting a real job or going out and bowling on the PBA tour, which sounds a heck of a lot more fun. And then, some of the young talent, the Cameron Hurwitzes of the world and the Richard Paul IIIs of the world and the Ryan Barnes of the world, that we have to look forward to over the next 4 years. It's a bright future, and it's exciting to be able to follow all of it here on Bowl TV.
Absolutely. You mentioned a few of those players. Before we started Baker Set 4, I actually took a quick stroll around our youth area, wearing a mask, of course, so safety first. But we have a row of champions, essentially, and we have all the junior gold champions from 2019 and the USA Bowling champions kind of all on that hallway there. And I took a look at it, and then I realized it hit. I'm like, wow, we got 2 junior gold champions bowling on this Wichita State team that's winning. So the U17 and the U20 champion from 2019, Cameron and Alec Keplinger, right there on the wall, now bowling together at Wichita State. So, yes, the youth stepladder is providing such great talent. So definitely fun to watch the young players come through, and as you said, for the veteran players as well, the upperclassmen, to have their opportunity back again after missing the postseason in 2020. Definitely a big moment, special moment moving forward as well. But JT, we'll go ahead and let you start unpacking or packing up, I guess, everything there at Wichita State. So a safe drive on the way back here to DFW. I know we got a podcast tomorrow, so be sure to get some rest for that. Looking forward to that. That's going to be a great show on the PWBA podcast, the Bowl for the Cure month edition, with some folks from Susan G. Komen as well as Chelsea Gilliam. And then we have Bowling Explained and Inside the OC coming up as well. But we're all done for the Mid-States Championships. Great week. Great job, JT. Love the commentary on the patterns throughout the course of these past couple of days, and excited to see what's next here on Bowl TV in the collegiate landscape.
Yes, I agree. Thank you guys watching at home so much for joining us all weekend. I know the audience was big all weekend, and thank you for supporting Bowl TV. And hopefully we'll see you at the next collegiate event in a couple of weeks at the Hoosier Classic.
Absolutely. So for for once again the great staff that helped us out throughout the course of the week there in Wichita, all the guests who joined us, for all of you in the Bowl TV community for chiming in, joining, having a good time with us. For Jason Thomas, I'm Aaron Smith. We're signing off from the Mid-States Championships. Congratulations again to Wichita State, the men and the women varsity champions here in 2021. Folks, we'll see you next time here on Bowl TV. And remember, on Bowl TV, bowling lives
Bowling
here.
lives here.
Let's go. All right, folks, have a great one. Super Bowl coming up next.